This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
On Sunday, 26 September, we sent 11 Black Sheep to Bougainville as high cover for a Marine torpedo bomber strike on the Japanese anti-aircraft positions near Kahili Aerodrome. The Marine bombers thoroughly plastered the target, then joined up and headed for home. As they did so, the fight began. 7 Black Sheep attacked and scattered a dozen Zeros that were harassing the bombers, sending one down smoking. The other 4 Black Sheep, with Moon Mullen leading, ran into real trouble, some 20 Zeros. Rowley Renabarger in Mullen's second section found his engine heating up and could not stay in position. Lagging slightly on a turn, Renabarger received a long burst from a Zero that dived on him. One 20mm shell exploded in his right stabilizer, another in his left wing gas tank. Machine gun bullets beat a steady tattoo on his tail and worked up his fuselage. One entered at an angle just back of his cockpit, nicked his knife, and hit him in the left hip. The slug traveled on down through his thigh, stopping just under the skin about 8 inches down on his left leg. Rowley attempted to stay in formation, but couldn't do so. Then the shells really began to hit him as the enemy planes all piled onto the cripple. A second 20mm shell exploded in his left wing. A third struck the right side of his cowl, breaking his oil line and putting one cylinder out of commission. Another entered his fuselage and exploded back of his cockpit, starting a fire. Still another hit his left wing, bursting his tire and destroying his flap control on that side, while machine gun bullets raked him fore and aft. Mullen brought the remainder of his division around as sharply as he could and engaged the swarm of Zeros as Rowley dived out, smoking badly. For 140 miles, these 3 Black Sheep fought off the pack of Zeros, attempting to finish off their squadron mate. They worked gradually toward Munda, keeping the Zeros several thousand feet above Renabarger, whose engine was smoking badly. The fire in the fuselage behind Rowley burned out, but oil obscured his windshield. Blood ran out the leg of his trousers, filled his shoe, and covered the floor of his cockpit. He limped into Munda, coming in too fast, about 140 miles an hour, because his airspeed indicator had been shot out and his left flap was damaged. He was unable to see through the oil on the windshield, and one tire was flat. He drifted too far without his flaps, but sat down well in spite of the flat tire, rolled down the runway, and might have made it except for a grader parked to the right. His right wing struck the grader, the Corsair spun, rolled over, and was washed out. Doc Reams rode with Rowley up to the hospital, and Boyington and I went up to see him as soon as the flight was in. He lay on a canvas cot in the hospital, a long tent with open sides and a bare, muddy coral floor. His face was pale, and we could see that his wound was painful. "Gee, Skipper, I'm sorry I wrecked the airplane," he said. Rowley was evacuated to New Zealand to recover.